is the creation of the heavens and the earth and the differences of your languages and colors. Now in other words, God says this. God says, the Quran says, that the reason why I've created different languages, different colors is because that is my sign. If you want to understand me, God, if you want to understand me, look at these differences. And then you will say, celebrate. You don't say, your ring is better than mine, your ring is better than... No, we say that all these are creations, and we celebrate. We say, Alhamdulillah, all praises to God. Now, another verse here. This is what the Prophet is purported to have said. Beware whoever is cruel and hard on a non-Muslim minority, curtails their rights, burdens them with more than they can bear, or takes anything from them against their free will. I will complain against the person on the day of judgment. Those you may hate, you must still be just to them. And this is also recorded in the Quran. And it says here, "Oh, you believe, stand out firmly for God, be just witnesses, and let not the enmity and hatred of others make you avoid justice." In other words, even if you hate somebody else and they come to you and say, please judge, you have to judge justly. Be just, that is nearer to piety, and fear God. Verily God is acquainted with what you do. In other words, everybody has equal access to justice. Now with that, I would like to move to my last point on this. Unfortunately, even though it is very clear from the Quran that many colors, many languages, different tribes, these are all diversity which God has created as His signs, human beings, however, have used these differences to create superiority for themselves and chronism. Now what that means is, my family, my friends, my club members have got special privileges, you don't. Next is tribalism, which means my race, my community, even my country from the Quranic perspective is un-Islamic. Elitism, which means only those in my wealth status, the others no opportunities, no special privileges. And lastly, oligopoly and monopoly, meaning there are some people who fear that their business will decline, so they want to control the business. Only I alone, only my family alone can control the sugar industry, for example, the media, for example, and so on. And lastly is landlordism. Landlordism means those who own the property. That's also another big issue. You may wonder why some people, not only in Malaysia, all over the world, own certain property, but the rest, for the rest of their lives, they can never own. Now all these things I have understood from the Quran itself. Now look at this verse. If your fathers, your sons, your brothers, and your wives, this refers to nepotism and cronyism, un-Quranic. And the dwellings in which you delight are dearest to you, and the dwellings in which you delight, this is landlordism, your property, again, that's more important to you. God says, if these are dearer to you than God and His messenger, then wait until God brings about His decision. In other words, these things, these inequalities are un-Islamic completely. This is what we believe, that every human being has certain rights and responsibilities, and no human being can restrict the honor, the freedom that God has given to another human being. And God calls those who restrict, those who create inequalities as oppressors or wrongdoers.